You may have even been Jim Everett back there, but somewhere along the way, Jim, you ceased being Jim and you became Chris.
Number 30, Meg Ryan versus Michael Parkinson. Parkinson. In 2003, Ryan went onto the UK's Parkinson to promote her work in the film In the Cut. Instead of getting positive publicity and perhaps a boost at the box office, she uncomfortably clashed with the host.
You said once that acting was not in your nature.
I did.
You did say that, yes,
Okay.
You did say that.
Perceiving the actor was being rude to his other guests, Parkinson admonished her throughout as Ryan gave brief responses. When he asked her what he should do, Ryan told him to, quote, wrap it up, drawing nervous laughter from the audience.
If you were me, what would you do now?
Well, just wrap it up.
Afterward, the two exchanged a public war of words. Ryan called Parkinson a, quote, nut, and he treated her like a, quote, disapproving dad. The host called her a, quote, unhappy woman. In 2021, a couple of years before his passing, Parkinson offered a public apology to Ryan. Number 29, Running from the Question. Piers Morgan Live. After unsuccessfully winning Delaware's senator election in 2010, Republican Christine O'Donnell popped up on CNN's Piers Morgan Live in 2011.
Because I don't think it's relevant. It's not a topic that I choose to embrace. It's not what I'm championing right now. I've been there, done that.
Promoting her book with a title that sounds very familiar today, Troublemaker, Let's Do What It Takes to Make America Great Again, she soon did something bizarre. As Morgan was asking O'Donnell about her stance on gay marriage, she kept dodging the question and claimed her beliefs were in her book. But Morgan wouldn't let this strange reaction go and kept pressing, causing his guest to call him rude.
I'm not being weird, you're being a little rude.
The escalating tension and confusion culminated in O'Donnell's team cutting the interview short, with the Tea Party activist using another engagement as an excuse. Number 28, Forced Announcement. The Ellen DeGeneres Show. Some talk show hosts will do anything to get celebrities to give them a big scoop. Take Ellen DeGeneres, for example. When Mariah Carey was a guest in 2008, during their sit-down chat, DeGeneres brought up the rumors of the singer being pregnant.
People are saying that that you're pregnant. There's rumors.
Don't discuss that.
All right. Well, you don't have to answer.
No, that's okay. No, honestly,
you don't have to answer
I...
me. Let's just toast with champagne.
Carey mentioned in interviews years later that she was blindsided by this and was very uncomfortable. At the time, she tried to change the subject, only for DeGeneres to give her a glass of champagne to toast being not pregnant, a very obvious test. When Carey pretended to drink it, the host called her out on the mimicry and exclaimed she was expecting a child.
I didn't say that. No. My mother would be at home like on the computer like, what are you talking about? No, we will let you know when we're gonna have a family.
No, you won't.
Yes, I would.
No. They always say that when they're sitting on the show and then I read about it the next day.
Not long after this incident, Carey sadly miscarried. Number 27, Calling Out Corden, The Late Late Show with James Corden. Sometimes context from years later can make a somewhat innocent talk show moment seem much more combative. In 2022, James Corden was the villain of the hosting world after he was allegedly rude to waiting staff at the Balthazar restaurant.
I made a rude comment, and it was wrong. It was an unnecessary comment. It was ungracious to the server.
Well, back in 2016, Corden had the icon Jimmy Kimmel on his show to play the segment Spill Your Guts, where you had to consume something gross or answer a question. With a fish smoothie in front of him, Kimmel asked Corden if he could name 2 of his camera operators. After a long pause, Corden couldn't and drank the smoothie.
Name 2 of the cameramen in this room.
With hindsight, this led to speculation that Kimmel did this to embarrass the English host due to his apparent rude attitude. Number 26, Morton Downey Jr. versus Kelly Everts, The Morton Downey Jr. Show. Considered one of the pioneers of trash TV, Morton Downey Jr. brought on Kelly Everts, also known as Rasa von Werder, as a guest on his controversial program in 1988. She was invited after gaining publicity for combining exotic dancing with religious services.
Don't you ever claim you do this in the name of God.
Immediately, it was uncomfortable as Downey made crass jokes. Throughout, he yelled misogynistic insults at Everts. When she stuck up for herself, he thrusted his pelvis on her, which was bizarre and gross. At one point, Downey aggressively yanked her microphone away and even broke her shoulder strap. After the segment aired, Everett stated to the press her intention to sue Downey for $40 million for defamation and assault. Number 25, Arsenio Hall vs. Queer Nation, The Arsenio Hall Show. In 1990, Hall was taping an episode of his self-titled talk show, riffing with the crowd. However, he was interrupted by the audience yelling, which he immediately addressed. Some members of the activist group Queer Nation were asking why Hall didn't have any gay guests on his show.
Well, there are a lot of gay guests who really don't like to talk about their sexual preference, so we don't know whether they're gay or not.
It started off calm, with Hall backing up accusations with evidence and mentioning guests might not be comfortable disclosing their sexuality. But as the activists continued questioning him and implying he was homophobic, the host exploded in rage.
I got gay friends I've had on the show. Because you don't know them or it ain't who you want on the show, you got a problem with it? If you want to book it, get yourself a show.
After telling them to sit down, a fired-up Hall monologued that he would never discriminate against a guest for their sexuality. His rage even continued when Paul Hogan was brought out, frightening the Australian actor. Number 24, Jimmy Kimmel vs. Jay Leno, The Jay Leno Show. In his short-lived, self-titled show, Leno brought on rival Kimmel for his 10 at 10 segment in 2010. Straight away, there was tension, as Kimmel made several insulting jokes against Leno, causing the audience to grip their seats and nervously laugh.
If you got to interview anyone in the world, who would it be? You and Conan together. Oh, okay. I would like to have the two of you.
Soon after, Kimmel took several shots at the longtime The Tonight Show host, berating him for mistreating Conan O'Brien, who had replaced Leno on the show before he returned, outing his successor along the way. Every time the scandal was brought up by Kimmel, Leno tried to move the segment along or make brief jokes. However, Kimmel wasn't letting go. By the end, he jokingly pleaded with Leno to leave their programs alone, as they have kids to feed and he only has cars.
Conan and I have children.
I'm sorry.
All you have to take care of is cars.
That's right.
I mean, we have lives to lead here. You've got $800 million. For God's sakes, leave our shows alone.
Number 23. Crispin Glover vs. David Letterman, Late Night with David Letterman. As Glover arrived on Letterman's stage in 1987 to promote his work in River's Edge, something was amiss with his long hair, nervous energy, and unusual clothing. Letterman was seemingly annoyed with his painted-on smile as Glover rambled on.
Do you do a lot of television shows?
Oh yes, now because I've been in movies that are big and I'm a movie star, so I've been on talk shows on the Johnny Carson show, and now I'm here.
But it got worse. The actor then asked Letterman if he wanted to arm wrestle, which the host wasn't keen on. When Glover kicked near Letterman's head, he had enough and walked off, shrugging off Glover's hand that grabbed him. When he returned, Letterman insinuated that Glover was forced to leave.
Welcome back to the show. We're running a little short of time tonight. I would have loved to chatted more with Crispin Glover, but I understand he had a cab to catch.
Those who watched 1991's Ruben and Ed might have seen the similarities between Glover's film character and his awkward portrayal on that infamous Letterman night. Number 22, Tucker Carlson vs. Jon Stewart, Crossfire. Before he was a big-time Fox political commentator who got fired, Carlson was a co-host on CNN's Crossfire, a debate show. In 2004, Stewart guest appeared to promote his book, and he saw the chance to lay into Carlson and the program and took it. The bow tie-wearing commentator insulted Stewart too, defining his speeches as, quote, boring.
I think you're a good comedian. I think your lectures are boring. Let me ask you a question on the news.
Now, this is theater.
Stewart responded by describing Carlson's work on the show as, quote, not honest and partisan hackery. Yikes. Carlson kept retaliating with juvenile insults and interrupting Stewart's concise criticism. The tense segment reached its peak when the TV host called Carlson a certain male appendage.
Now you're getting into it, I like that.
The scandal on screen was so bad that it supposedly led to Carlson being fired from the network and Crossfire being cancelled several months later. Number 21. Badly facing the allegations. Newsnight. For a guest to be confrontational with a host, the victim of their alleged crimes, and a whole country is pretty intense. This interview was so disastrous for Andrew and the UK royal family that it resulted in lawsuits, his removal from public duties, and police investigations.
You said you went to break up the relationship, and yet you stayed at that New York mansion several days. I'm wondering how long.
But I was doing a number of other things while I was there.
Andrew denied knowing Virginia Giuffre, who he was accused of assaulting after she was trafficked by Epstein, even though there was a photo of the two of them. He made bizarre excuses, including claiming that Giuffre's account is incorrect since he couldn't sweat at the time after an adrenaline overdose. Near the end, the final nail in the PR coffin was Andrew describing Epstein's crimes as, quote, unbecoming, causing interviewer Emily Maitlis to interject Epstein was a sex offender.
The problem was the fact that once he had been convicted,
you stayed with him.
I stayed with him.
Number 20. Aziz Ansari calls out CBS. The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. Representation has been a topic of discussion in show business for a long time, and it's something that Aziz Ansari has spoken candidly about.
Stephen's the first late-night host from South Carolina.
Right.
And the bajillionth white guy. So,
during an interview with Stephen Colbert, the Parks and Rec comedian took some not-so-subtle jabs at CBS's track record when it comes to diversity. And Ansari managed to do it while still being funny.
This is like an all-time high for CBS.
Yeah.
Fortunately, Colbert was able to roll with it and poke some fun of his own, diffusing potential awkwardness and making it easy to focus on the comedian's point.
You've written the best-selling book, Modern Love?
Modern Romance.
Sorry, Modern... really?
Let's call it Modern Romance.
Really? My card says Modern Love.
Oh, somebody's gonna get fired.
Wow. God, I hope it's a white guy.
Number 19. Abel Ferrara awkward interview. Late Night with Conan O'Brien. Conan O'Brien has interviewed almost every celebrity imaginable, so the fact the host picked Abel Ferrara as his most difficult interview means something.
Ask you about the...
Conan.
There you go. All right.
Dennis.
Cool. All right, you just passed our sobriety test here. All right.
I know.
From the very start, the accomplished filmmaker comes across as though he'd rather be anywhere else.
Yeah. Beat him up. You can beat him up.
Why did she want
maybe
you...
tomorrow.
Why did she want you to beat up Harvey Keitel?
You tell me why.
Despite Conan's best efforts to get a conversation going, Ferrara mostly mumbles through a couple of half stories about Madonna and Harvey Keitel while playing around with a cigarette. As awkward as this interview is, there is almost a comedic brilliance to it, especially since it kind of ends on a punchline.
Abel Ferrara will be right back.
Yeah, we're gonna...
Number 18. Norman Mailer versus Gore Vidal. The Dick Cavett Show.
I'd really like to get into a discussion with Gore. He's been saying absolutely unspeakable things about me. He's been acting even worse than he usually does as a polemicist. You know, he's really, he's shameless in intellectual argument. He's absolutely without character, a moral foundation, or even intellectual substance.
The Dick Cavett Show had its share of explosive sessions over the years, but few compare to the sheer ferocity that defined Norman Mailer and Gore Vidal's segment.
Norman did a book on women's liberation. And his attitudes towards sex, some very interesting, some quite outrageous. He was very anti-women's liberation piece, and he was very mean to a couple of the girls, particularly Kate Millett. And I answered this, his piece, and a number of others. You know, Norman is taking everything too personally.
While everyone got their licks in, Mailer was the driving force behind this confrontational debate, with the writer mocking Vidal's career, personality, and pretty much everything besides his political campaign.
I guarantee you I wouldn't hit any of the people here because they are smaller.
In what ways?
Intellectually. Intellectually smaller.
Well, let me turn my chair and join these three. Perhaps you'd like 2 more chairs to contain your giant intellect.
Mailer even challenged Cavett and the audience's intelligence, while a bored Janet Flanner sat there like a frustrated teacher presiding over a couple of school children. While things never quite got violent on screen, Mailer reportedly headbutted Vidal earlier that night.
Hey, can I talk to the audience for a
Why
moment?
don't you fold it 5 ways and put it where the moon don't shine?
Number 17, a rude interruption, The Wendy Williams Show. Few things can ruin a person's focus quite as instantly as a ringing phone.
Somebody's phone on? Yeah. Get out. Get out.
During a recording of The Wendy Williams Show, the host found her train of thought interrupted by the sound of a ringtone, a crime that could not go unpunished. At that moment, Wendy Williams uttered the phrase anyone who's ever been stuck in a theater with a disruptive audience member has always wanted to say.
Tickets are free, but when you come here, you must turn your phones off.
Although Williams diffused the situation within a few seconds, that does not mean that the host's initial frustration was not genuine. Number 16, Vince McMahon versus Bob Costas. On the record with Bob Costas.
Vince McMahon, thanks for coming, Vince.
Pleasure.
XFL ratings are down 75% from week 1. They now rival the lowest ratings ever in prime time, not just for a sports program, but for any television show.
Right.
Can you guarantee me right now that there will be a year 2 for the XFL?
While some discussions start gently and gradually grow more confrontational, Bob Costas' interview with WWE's Vince McMahon is underpinned by a palpable fierceness right from the start.
But in most people's minds, not with prestige because of the type of programming you're associated with. On the other hand, NBC has prestige. Right. They risk not just dollars, they risked prestige.
Coming across more like an interrogation than a discussion, Costas grilled his guest on the failings of the XFL, a then new football league created by McMahon that would ultimately go bust within a year of debuting, while also not painting professional wrestling in the most positive light.
You want to let me finish here for a second, pal?
I'm asking you the question.
Then shut your mouth and let me answer the question, all right? I'll be happy to answer. Let me finish.
By the time the interview came to an end, McMahon appeared on the verge of body slamming the host, although the pair would meet up for a much more cordial episode a year later. Number 15, Bill Maher kicks out an audience member. Real Time with Bill Maher. This long-running show tackles sensitive and controversial topics using irreverent humor that adds to the debates without necessarily overshadowing them.
Like boy, sometimes here at CBS, I wish the sound wasn't working.
Typically cool as a cucumber, Bill Maher is always in command and does not react kindly to any attempts to hijack a panel, especially from hecklers.
Or do I have to come over and kick this guy's ass out of here?
While the first heckler received a personal goodbye from Maher, the tension only escalated from there, as waves of unrest echoed from the audience.
I'll kick your ass out of here, too.
Through it all, Maher still manages to get a couple of laughs, although each one-liner is fueled by anger. Number 14, Patti LaBelle isn't having it, The Tyra Banks Show. Who knew that a pretty short conversation revolving around cupcakes and paper could be so uncomfortable?
This has paper on it.
Yeah, you can't eat the paper.
Nope.
Now these are
but
made
you can
with...
touch them with your hands.
That is true. 2 kinds of cake mix.
What seems to start out as a genuine misunderstanding between Hungry Girl cookbook writer Lisa Lillian and guest Patti LaBelle regarding the paper surrounding the cupcakes quickly turns into an improv session with cringeworthy attempts at humor and condescending remarks. All things considered, LaBelle managed to keep her cool despite being spoken to like a toddler. While the animosity dies down relatively quickly, a segment about cupcakes should never have been this tense to watch.
Diet hot cocoa. What is Patty saying over there?
She is causing trouble.
Yeah, no, but what makes you think I could eat the paper, boo?
You can eat the paper. No paper. Paper bad, cake good.
Okay, next.
The incident was so infamous that it inspired a 2020 Saturday Night Live sketch starring SNL cast member Ego Wodum as LaBelle's stand-in Cookie LaFloof, and host Daniel Craig as the put-upon celebrity chef.
Well, don't eat the foil.
What?
The aluminium foil on the... Just don't eat the foil. That's...
I don't want to eat the foil.
Okay. I'm making sure.
Don't eat the foil? Who is this man?
Number 13, Morton Downey Jr. versus Seka, The Morton Downey Jr. Show. In hindsight, the Morton Downey Jr. show was closer to programs like The Jerry Springer Show than modern-day talk shows.
10 bookstores?
Yes.
At 23 years old, folks, isn't this a wonderful country? 23 years old, you had 10. Where'd you get your money from?
I started out with one store, very small.
Mob didn't give you the money?
Mob?
Mob.
No.
The pilot episode dealing with the adult film industry instantly established the tone for the show, as the host utilized an aggressive interviewing style designed to put actress Seika immediately on the defensive.
How about, do you agree with the fact that 50% of all porn is controlled by the mob, and 90% of all money made from hard porn through the distribution is handled by the mob? Do you believe with that, Port? You don't believe with that?
The live audience ate up Downey's savage takedown of his guest, even if the whole thing comes across as a sensationalist stunt that sought to belittle Seika for easy ratings.
You damn right it makes them right. You damn right. I'd much rather hear it from those people who have studied it than from someone who's laid down with everyone that they can find in a porn film. Much rather.
It's hardly surprising that Seika walked out during a commercial break. Number 12. Harvey Pekar wilds out. Late Night with David Letterman. This exchange was memorable enough to be recreated in a biopic.
What kind of show was it?
Like a talk show.
Going to be a talk show?
Yeah, it was a talk show.
And then what kind of guests would you have?
I didn't even consider that question because I don't want to do it.
Now, why wouldn't you want to do it?
Well, I'd seen you here.
Harvey Pekar's appearances on David Letterman's talk shows are the stuff of legend, especially the heated exchanges the pair had during the 80s.
Hey, I want to tell you something about that stuff. No, wait a minute, I'm serious.
No,
let's... Damn it, now, man, don't mess with me.
The duo always seemed to be stuck in a power struggle, and that was never more apparent than when Pekar went on a rant about General Electric, the parent company of NBC, the network that aired Late Night with David Letterman.
They're being sued in Ohio because they sold these nuclear reactors around the country.
Harvey, this is very bad manners.
I don't care, man.
This is very, very inappropriate.
Number 2.
This was not some previously discussed routine, as Letterman did not hide the fact that Pekar's comments were highly inappropriate and unwelcome. Number 11. Meghan's choice words. The View. Political discussions naturally tend to grow a bit fiery, but certain words are practically never heard on daytime television.
But he was sort of negging Lindsey Graham at the same time, and I even tweeted last night.
Who was doing
the
that?
president was.
Against
Watch
Lindsey?
the rally, yes.
Wow.
While Meghan McCain and Joy Behar are known to snap at each other, The View's co-hosts usually refrain from using profanity.
I know you're angry. I get it that you're angry that Trump's president, like a lot of people
I'm angry
are.
about every single
but
thing he's doing.
I don't think yelling at me is gonna fix the problem.
While debating a Trump rally, McCain grew increasingly frustrated with Behar's occasional interruptions. It reached the point that Whoopi Goldberg had to try and cool down the panel.
But being the sacrificial Republican every day, I'm just trying to...
Here's the thing.
Don't feel bad for me, bitch.
McCain and Behar have had several blowouts over the years, but this was one of the more memorable ones. Number 10. Cher versus Letterman. Late Night with David Letterman. It's rare that a talk show interview starts out confrontationally, then becomes progressively calmer.
Is this as good as it gets?
But that's exactly what happened when Cher first appeared on Late Night with David Letterman.
You know, I know you didn't want to come on here for the longest time, so why finally, after nearly 4.5 years, did you decide to come on?
I don't know. I thought it was one reason, but I'm sure that couldn't be it.
What is the reason you thought it was?
I wanted to pay my hotel bill.
During the initial stages, Letterman attempted to learn why Cher had previously rejected the show's invitations, and there was a definite tension during these moments that made the exchange uncommonly awkward.
Now let's explore this a little. Why? Because you thought I was
an ass.
When Cher finally revealed the reason, it could have come across as a punchline if it were not for the fact that the singer did not laugh for a couple of seconds after. It was no joke.
What she said was she thought I was an awfully nice guy.
No, an astronaut.
Yeah, an astronaut.
I thought you were an astronaut.
Yeah.
Number 9. Dakota's Birthday. The Ellen DeGeneres Show. Ellen DeGeneres is rarely caught off guard by any of her guests, which makes this particularly awkward exchange with Dakota Johnson all that more captivating.
It's good to see you. Happy belated birthday. When was your birthday?
It was October 4th.
October 4th. You turned 30.
I did.
And how was the party? I wasn't invited.
After inquiring about the actress's birthday party, Ellen made the mistake of mentioning that she was not invited. A throwaway joke that ended up not being true, a fact Johnson wasted absolutely no time in correcting.
Actually, no, that's not the truth, Ellen. You were invited. Last time I was on the show, last year, you gave me a bunch of shit about not inviting you, but I didn't even know you wanted to be invited.
Well, who doesn't want to be invited to a party?
Well, I didn't even know you liked me.
Ellen's comedic timing does manage to diffuse some of the tension out of the situation, although that does not make the interview's opening few minutes any less uncomfortable to watch.
Ask everybody. Ask Jonathan, your producer. Who said you were?
I was invited?
Right.
Why didn't I go?
I don't know.
Was it? Oh yeah, I had that thing.
Number 8, Madonna versus Letterman, The Late Show with David Letterman. This interview was off to a rough start with Letterman's derogatory introduction.
In the past 10 years, she has sold over 80 million albums, starred in countless films, and slept with some of the biggest names in the entertainment industry.
He then told Madonna to kiss a man in the audience.
Let's go kiss a guy in the audience. Why don't you go kiss the guy in the audience?
Why are you so obsessed with my sex life?
Even so, no one could have predicted what followed.
I gave him my underpants and he won't. That's not where they go.
No, believe me, that's where the underwear goes.
Filled with expletives from Madonna and innuendo from both parties, this interview toes the lines between playful banter and outright hostility. To say that it takes some weird turns is an understatement.
Turn down your volume. Turn the volume down immediately. She can't be stopped.
By the last few minutes, it had gone completely off the rails, as any semblance of structure gives way to confusion, cigars, and shocked audience members. Number 7, Tom Cruise versus Matt Lauer, Today.
I've never agreed with psychiatry, ever. Before I was a Scientologist, I never agreed with psychiatry. And then when I started studying the history of psychiatry, I started realizing more and more why I didn't agree with psychiatry. And as far as the Brooke Shields thing is, look, you gotta understand, I really care about Brooke Shields.
During an interview with Today's then undisgraced host, Matt Lauer, Tom Cruise opened up about life and mental health in a rant that would arguably change the public perception of the actor forever.
Matt, you have to understand this. Here we are today, where I talk out against drugs and psychiatric abuses of electric shocking people, okay, against their will, of drugging children with them not knowing the effects of these drugs. Do you know what Adderall is? Do you know Ritalin?
The strangest thing about this whole ordeal was that the interview was perfectly cordial for the first half, but the tone changed once Lauer mentioned Scientology, which snowballed into Cruise sharing his distrust about psychiatry as someone who knew the profession's long history.
So you're advocating it?
I am not. I'm telling you, in their case, in their individual case, it worked. I am not going to go out and say, get your kids on Ritalin, it's the cure-all and the end-all.
Matt, but here's the point. What is an ideal scene in life?
The interview got particularly heated once Brooke Shields became the topic of discussion, with Cruise even going so far as to describe Lauer as glib.
Maybe there are too many kids on Ritalin. Maybe electric shock is...
kids on Ritalin, Matt.
I'm just saying, but aren't there examples where it works?
Matt, you don't even... You're glib. You don't even know what Ritalin is. If you start talking about chemical imbalance, you have to evaluate and read the research papers on how they came up with these theories, Matt. Okay? That's what I've done.
Number 6, Rosie O'Donnell versus Tom Selleck, The Rosie O'Donnell Show. In the aftermath of the Columbine High School massacre, Rosie O'Donnell and Tom Selleck ended up in a now infamous debate over gun control.
You know, I understand how you feel. This is a really contentious issue, probably as contentious and potentially as troubling as the abortion issue in this country. All I can tell you is it rushes to pass legislation at a time of national crisis or mourning. I don't really think are proper.
Selleck, who came on the talk show to promote the romantic comedy The Love Letter, was blindsided by O'Donnell, who was far more interested in discussing the NRA, guns, and the Second Amendment.
I can't speak for the NRA.
But you are their spokesperson, Tom, so you have to be responsible for what they say.
I'm not a spokesperson.
But if you put your name out and say,
don't put words in my mouth. I'm not a spokesperson. Remember how calm you said you'd be? Now you're questioning my humanity.
No, not your humanity. I think you're a very humane man.
Okay,
I'm saying that if you say...
I disagree with you, but I think you're being
But you can't say that I will not take responsibility for anything the NRA represents.
While Selleck tried to maintain a degree of composure and civility early on in the debate, the actors seemed to give up once it became apparent this argument was just going to go around in circles.
I didn't come on your show to have a debate. I came on your show to plug a movie. That's what I'm doing here.
And that's what we did.
If you think it's proper to have a debate about the NRA, I'm trying to be fair with you.
As I am trying to.
This is absurd. You're calling me a spokesman for the NRA?
Number 5, Whoopi Goldberg versus Bill O'Reilly, The View. As multiple arguments on The View can attest, it's only natural that discussions get heated when politics, religion, or 9/11 are involved.
So many questions. I know you have.
Yeah, so, okay.
Look at you. Look, every time I come on here, she's... How did this happen?
Rosie O'Donnell and Elizabeth Hasselbeck had a notable exchange in 2007, but it was Bill O'Reilly's guest appearance in 2010 that saw tensions boil over to unprecedented heights.
Yes, and then the guy says... And then the
This is
hold
America.
Hold it. Listen to me, because you'll learn. All right?
O'Reilly's generalization of Muslims prompts a verbal tirade from Whoopi Goldberg, who then proceeds to leave the set alongside co-host Joy Behar.
Why is it inappropriate when 70 families died? What are you
killed us on 9/11.
No.
Right?
Oh, my God. That is...
In retrospect, there was not friction immediately between O'Reilly and Goldberg, but things certainly did not take long to escalate. Number 4, Rush Limbaugh versus protesters, The Pat Sajak Show. The most infamous episode of this show didn't even feature the titular host.
You think that bans and economic boycotts like this have a role?
I think women's lives are more important than any potatoes.
A couple of weeks before the show's cancellation, Rush Limbaugh took over for an episode about a recently vetoed abortion bill, and in a move that backfired instantly, asked an audience member for their opinion.
Nothing to do. What it's about. You'll never have a baby.
It has nothing,
You'll never be pregnant.
Madam,
You'll never have to have an abortion.
Madam.
Get what?
You need not react that way.
The rest of the episode involved Limbaugh trying and failing to gain any sort of control over a restless crowd, with many vocal members who did not agree with the guest host's political views.
You should be ashamed of yourself. That's right.
The experience was such a train wreck, Limbaugh would later claim it was a publicity stunt staged by the talk show's producers. Number 3, Mark Summers versus Burt Reynolds, The Tonight Show with Jay Leno. Sometimes things escalate slowly before reaching a boil. This was not one of those times.
We once filled a container with 4,000 pounds of baked beans and made kids dive into it, which was really great.
Gee, I wish I'd seen that.
You would.
Mark Summers and Burt Reynolds share one cordial exchange before the bitter jokes, cups, and pies begin to fly.
No, I was just wondering who told you that, because...
My wife tells me that often.
She says, good morning.
I'm still married, as a matter of fact.
Yes, well, you...
From the moment Summers made a crack at Reynolds' past divorces, it felt like the pair were constantly on the brink of a fight.
I deserved it.
You deserved it?
I deserved it. I did it to you. I deserved it.
No, it's okay.
You know, that's the kind of guy I am.
Yeah, okay.
And I was saying to your wife the other night, you know...
Neither party came out of this segment looking particularly great, while Jay Leno seemed simultaneously delighted and terrified by what was unfolding in front of him. Things might not have worked out as planned, but it did lead to an unforgettable interview.
1, 2, 3.
Number 2, Geraldo. While sometimes arguments arise from unlikely pairings, certain situations are purposefully crafted to spark controversy and hostility.
If you have true belief in your convictions, and your movement is as good and as powerful as you say it is, why are you afraid to let other people speak? Why are you not like other minorities and allow other people to pursue whatever happiness they find in whatever religion they find?
When Geraldo invited a white Aryan resistance youth member onto the same show as civil rights activist Roy Innis, the talk show presumably anticipated a few fireworks, although a full-on brawl presumably exceeded the expectations of even the most ambitious of TV execs.
The reason why I do that is because I get sick and tired of hearing the sob stories from I get sick and tired of seeing Uncle Tom here sucking up trying to be a white man.
Go ahead, Roy, go ahead. Now, let me tell you. Wait, you got a kid.
After one particularly racist comment, Innis took matters into his own hands before the show lost complete control of its guests and audience. By the end, Geraldo Rivera ended up with a broken nose and a ratings smash. Number 1, Jim Everett versus Jim Rome. Talk 2.
Jim, good to have you on the show.
Good to be here, Jim. Thank you.
Check that. Chris Everett, good to have you on the show.
You know what? You know, you've been calling me that for about the last 5 years.
About 2 years, actually, Chris.
Well,
Hey, you know what? Let me say one thing.
A moment so infamous, South Park parodied it more than a decade later. After years of Talk 2's Jim Rome poking fun at Jim Everett by calling him Chris instead, in reference to the female tennis player of the same name, the Los Angeles Rams quarterback dared the host to repeat it one more time during an interview.
You know, we're sitting here right now, and if you guys want to take a station break, you can. But if you call me Chris Everett to my face one more time...
I already did it twice.
If you call it one more time, we better take a station break.
Rome did so and instantly regretted it. The segment is so outlandish, it almost seems staged. However, Everett has always maintained that it was legitimate.
Well, we got no problems
well, I think that you probably won't say it again.
I bet I do.
Okay.
Chris?
Considering neither party came out of this scuffle looking particularly good, it does seem pretty real. Which controversial talk show moment shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments.
Why do you argue? The two of you, I hate to see it.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.